That was really great. I wanted to, mention that when that song was being sung, I thought a little bit of a connection that actually the Vietnam War and what happened on 9/11 has a little bit of a connection. It just so happens that the security manager for Morgan Stanley was a serviceman, and he was an infantry officer during the Vietnam War, and his name was Rick Riscola, and he retired as a colonel from the New York Army Reserves. But the people there at Morgan Stanley never knew that he was in the military. But his job was to make sure that if something happened at the World Trade Center was to get those people out of there. And he did. Every single one of them survived, 2,000. But he and a few others of his office, of his security office, went upstairs to try to help out some other people. And they didn't make it out. So, Colonel Riscola, you're with us. And you're with the soldiers that you served with in Vietnam in the Era Drang Valley in 1965 and 1966. Great job by the choir. Now our band. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. Well, pick up the pen here. Okay. All right. Well, now it's a real special time of our program, and this is where we have the reading of the names. Now, I don't have any idea who's going to get up here, but you're sure welcome to do that. First thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to have the National Guard members, and I'm going to kind of put them on the spot. The color guard, I'm going to have them come up front, and each of them is going to take a turn reading some of the names, how it's written on the plaque. And then, as they introduce the name, what's on the plaque, they'll pause for a few minutes, and if you're that family member, relative, friend, whatever, you want to speak, this is your chance. This is your opportunity. So I'd like to have the National Guard, color guard come up front. Come on up here. Yeah.
First Lieutenant Leonard Lee Castor. Private First Class Eugene Taylor McCoy.
Commander Richard Earl Donahue, MD.
I'm sorry.
Lieutenant Commander Rex.
Lieutenant Commander Rex Stewart Wood.
Sergeant First Class James Derwin Coron.
My fault.
Sergeant Harry Aldebert Barber.
Sergeant Lloyd Earl Valentine.
Specialist Lloyd Wesley Jones.
Chief Warrant Officer Albert B. Crouch. Sergeant First Class Ernest Leroy Ramsey.
Corporal Michael Carter Lawson.
Sergeant Dennis Martin Harbor.
Thank you very much for reading of the names. You know, being in uniform sometime, you got to look back in history. And these were our comrades in arms from an earlier time. Well, is there anybody who would like to speak about the first Iowan who was killed in the Vietnam War? He came from Moulton, and that was Gerald Owen Norton, and he was a helicopter medical corpsman, and he was the first one. Some 854 Iowans would follow him. And I don't know out there if anybody knows him or would like to speak about him, but this is your chance right now. Please come forth. Well, let me tell you a little bit about him, what I know. Served as a Navy corpsman on a helicopter. He lost his life on October 6, 1962, in Quan Tin, South Vietnam as a result of non-hostile action. He was the first Iowan casualty in the Vietnam War. When he lost his life, President Kennedy was still in office, was our president. And Hospital Corpsman Norton was an effort by our president to help the South Vietnamese government and the people out so that they could defend their country. There were some 10,000 that were sent there by President Kennedy on this important mission. The next serviceman, First Lieutenant Leonard Lee Castor, we've had some words mentioned already for him. Is there anybody else who would like to come up and mention anything about him? Well, he was a U.S. Air Force navigator of B-57 Canberra bomber that was shot down by enemy ground action on Long Ken on August 6, 1964. So this was under the administration of President Johnson. PFC Eugene Taylor McCoy. Is there anybody